Alright guys, Bitcoin just broke to the upside of that bullish pattern we talked about in the previous video, but it is now trading right at a major level and it could literally get rejected in the next few hours. And the long I entered recently is now in a very decent profit. But I did take a big chunk of the profit of the table because of the levels that just got hit, and I'll also show you my next trades coming up. So for the past few days, Bitcoin was trading in this ascending triangle, and as we said in the previous video, this is a more bullish pattern with a higher probability of breaking to the upside, and that is exactly what happened. Bitcoin broke out of the triangle some time ago and is now seeing a decent push higher. And if we quickly measure the pattern from top to bottom and project it from the breakout point, we can get the target sitting around $69,000, which is a level we'll come back to in a bit, because it lines up with a lot more than just the pattern. And it wasn't trading just inside that pattern. It was also trading below this trendline resistance right here. And as you can see, Bitcoin has now broken above it as well, which is of course a slightly more bullish sign in the short term. And on top of that, Bitcoin also broke back above the value area low of that major range from the past 4 months. So that is yet another more bullish indication for Bitcoin in the short term. But as you know, if you've been watching the previous videos, I actually am not looking to long up here. And I'll show you exactly why in just a second. But before I do that, I would really appreciate it if you guys are finding this helpful to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because 200 subscribers is definitely possible, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. So even though Bitcoin is showing some momentum and some bullish signs here in the short term, there are still some levels above that we have to pay attention to. There is one specific area that Bitcoin has already hit, the exact area where I said in the previous videos I would potentially enter a short. If we pull up the fib retracement from this high down to the recent local low, what you're going to see is that Bitcoin has already hit the 0.5 level, which was our target from the previous videos. And it's not just the 0.5, it also lines up with the anchored VWAP, and if I pull up the fixed range volume profile of that major multi-month range again, but this time turn on the point of control, you'll see that the point of control is sitting in this exact same area. And Bitcoin is actually trading right at it as we speak. So we have the 0.5 fib, the anchored VWAP and the point of control all stacking up at the same zone. Definitely a strong area. And that is exactly why I took major profits on my long position right here. But not only that, full transparency with you guys, I did very recently also enter a brand new short because Bitcoin tapped into this zone. But I want to be clear, I only entered it partially, and the reason for that is there is still one more level above that Bitcoin might push into, a level that it must not break or this whole scenario gets invalidated. Let me show you exactly where that is. So let's pull up the ascending triangle with its target at $69,000 once again. Well, it's not just the pattern pointing there. Bitcoin is also potentially forming some kind of a three-wave move right here, an ABC to the upside. And if we take the fib extension and measure the first wave, then place it at the bottom of the second wave, you'll see that the 1.618 target aligns perfectly with that same area. And it's not just that. If we also enable the golden pocket on the fib retracement, you'll see that the 0.618 to 0.65 golden ratio lines up with it perfectly as well. So we have the triangle target, the 1.618 target and the golden pocket all stacking up at the same zone right around $68.4 to $69,000. And that is exactly why a clear break above that level would be an invalidation of my short trade. And let's also pull up the liquidation heat map to see where the liquidity is sitting. And what you're going to see here is that the major liquidations are actually not sitting above where Bitcoin is trading right now. They're sitting below, down at the recent lows at around $63.5 thousand. And if we zoom out to the 1 week chart, you can see a very similar picture. There are no major liquidations above the highs, but there is another big liquidation cluster sitting even lower, down at around $60,600. So most of the exposed liquidity in the short term right now is to the downside, which does line up with the idea of Bitcoin eventually pulling lower if this resistance holds. Bitcoin is still trading inside the bigger 5-wave count that could potentially come to an end in the upcoming weeks. So if the 4th wave does stop out around here and starts pushing lower for the 5th and final wave, then that short plays out perfectly. But if Bitcoin does break above the golden pocket, I do think that's a more bullish sign, because above that zone there is virtually no resistance left all the way up to the end of the first and second wave, where we have a daily level, a few liquidity levels and also another major golden pocket sitting. And if the fourth wave pushes even higher than the end of the first wave, that would fully invalidate this bearish 5-wave count. So let me quickly show you those exact levels above. So let's zoom out to the daily. The first one, if we take the fib retracement from the local top down to the current local bottom, is this golden pocket right here. And what you'll see is that it aligns very well with a daily level at around 73.7 thousand US dollars. So that's the first major target above. And then a bit higher we have the value area high of our major range, and that one also lines up with another daily level. So those are definitely strong levels to watch if Bitcoin breaks the first golden pocket at approximately 68.5 thousand US dollars and pushes into a stronger uptrend from there. Now at the end of the day, Bitcoin is still in a downtrend until proven otherwise. I longed near the local bottom, price has already seen a huge bounce since then, and now it's stepping into some major levels with even more resistance sitting slightly higher, so there is no way I'm looking to long up here. And if Bitcoin does pump from here and breaks my levels, that's completely fine. I get stopped out, I take a small loss and I move on. After the last few trades that worked out really well, I can easily afford to take a calculated risk like this. That's the whole point of risk management. And let's also not forget the bigger picture. A bit lower, there is still this massive golden pocket from the bottom of the last bear market all the way up to the all-time high, and that one hasn't been hit yet. So that remains a very strong target for Bitcoin, and ideally I'd love to see it get there before any real continuation higher. So that's it for today. Bitcoin is sitting at a major resistance and I'm partially short with my stop loss in place. As always, this is not financial advice and manage your risk. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.